I didn't really understand social media or the internet. And then somebody told me about this app called Vine. And the appeal of Vine were the parameters. You had 6 seconds to tell a story. And I quickly realized, okay, what's my goal in life? Make music, make movies, make music for my movies. What a great place to audition all of these weird ideas I have.
All right, cool, man.
For cooking the show.
Well, thank you for joining us. Rudy, I mean, I'm really glad to have you because you made a film that is like a book of your life almost. I mean, it's more than it's all the different senses are basically there. And I wanted to just start with the only senses that you have not, that are not in the movie specifically, although there is food in the movie, like specifically fish.
There's some fish.
And we kind of are opening up the main kind of first question that we do here is sort of like what is the food that's like the meal that's like changed your life, or the most meaningful meal that you ever had, and then we can kind of like start from there.
Here's the thing. I grew up in a clash of cultures. Straight out the womb, born in New Jersey, but something like six months later, I was on a plane because my father wanted to baptize me in his hometown in Italy. So before I even had my senses formed, I was traveling, and I'd bounced for like the first 10 years of my life. I bounced back and forth between Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Sarno, Salerno, southern Italy. Very different cultures, but both very rich, very distinct. Food is religion, and very passionate and outspoken and unapologetic.
Exactly. So they have things that are very different, but ultimately the vibe is kind of similar.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because there was a bit of a convergence of a culinary convergence of tastes, sounds, colors, but particularly tastes. So my mother, who naturally knew how to cook these very, very distinct traditional Brazilian dishes, everything from feijoada, the carne moída, churrasco, which is a traditional style rotisserie meat.
And feijoada, just so people understand, that's like a very rich kind of beans.
Yeah, it's like this big bean dish. It almost, at a glance, looks like a big bean stew because depending on what part of Brazil you are, they cook it with pork or different types of meats. And what you get is black beans, but savored in all these spices and additional herbs and ingredients and meats. In the same way that a lot of Italians will use meat to flavor their red sauce. But so here's my mother with this one kind of approach to cooking and palate, and then enters my father who needs his Mediterranean based, olive oil based Southern Italian pastas, fishes, and what my mom ended up doing accidentally was converging the two in this kind of Brazilian Italian hybrid. So from a very early age, I recognized the importance of food, not only because of the sense of the community it brought. It was the only time our family was sat down, not trying to kill each other, even though even at dinner we were trying to kill each other. But also my palate expanded beyond my anticipation. So what's the food that changed my life? Probably this Italian-Brazilian hybrid. You have feijoada on one side and a homemade pasta and tomato basil sauce on the left.
Oh, we got nature and wildlife flying around here.
Let's go. It's part of the
It's
interview
just
now.
a bug. It's fine.
You'll paint it out, yeah.
Right?
Only 6 months of post, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, not anymore.
Are we allowed to say that we support AI art?
Look,
I'm torn, man.
it's actually an interesting question. It depends on if you can draw or not, and it depends on like what your tech. Yeah,
Are you qualified to use AI if you know how to do it?
I mean,
if you know how to draw.
The thing is that I don't know how to draw, and so like there are certain things. I have a lot of ideas. I know exactly in my mind what I want something to look like, what I want it to sound like, the references specifically to movies and things like that. And then I just find it to be like it just knows me for some reason. Like it just knows
Yeah.
what I want in a way.
There's
in a
nothing
way
wrong
that
with
I
using
can't-
it as a tool to
yeah,
enhance what
I
you
use
do.
it as a tool, but I think that as somebody that has ideas, it's really helpful for me to be able to communicate those ideas. And so I'm finding myself using them in various temp situations.
Yeah.
And then also just to create nightmare fuel on the internet when I'm bored on planes. I recently have been making some weird stuff.
But I am somewhat stuck in between using it as a tool and embracing the technology, but also being a bit apprehensive and against it.
It scares me because you can create anything on it now, and the only way I can feel safe is by knowing it. And
you can't beat it, join it.
Yeah, and so like I'm just trying to stay on top of it, and I'm doing my own experiments with it. As a documentary filmmaker, there are moments where I'm very tempted, or at least want to figure out what is the ethical way of doing it, not to ever make someone, because I think that there's a problem in documentaries where a filmmaker used it to have a deceased person say something that they had written,
right?
And so now it's acting as if they had done the voiceover of it, and that caused a big kerfuffle.
Well, sure, because it's a whole
now
ethical issue now.
Now you're making someone do something that they hadn't done, and you're not communicating that to the audience. Versus like in documentaries, we do reenactments sometimes. You know, we'll do a historical thing, and then you'll want to see like, oh, what's the reenactment of that? And I used to be like limited to doing very tight inserts, and now I can create giant Ridley Scott battle scenes if I want to. And it's just a crazy moment. And so I'm curious, like, what are you using it for? What do you think is the line in terms of using it for your own art?
I think whatever that line is keeps changing as the technology evolves. But for me, I have a lot of ideas. And one thing I'm not is regimented. So from an organizational standpoint, it's really helpful to help me kind of outline and organize a lot of what seems to be non-cohesive ideas, because there's a lot of them and it's hard to keep track of it, especially now I'm in development for so many different projects. I could use somewhat of an AI assistant to just help organize my thoughts. It's less about help me conceive an idea from scratch. I couldn't possibly do that. I won't even do that with another human.
Well, it also doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Well, for some people it does. It says, hey, come up with a concept revolving around this.
It can only come up with things that are composite of what already exists. You know,
right.
There is a line, at least so far, where you require some kind. If you want it to be good, it has to be grounded in human experience.
Totally.
And the AI is only trying to please the prompter. Whereas when you're making something, when it's good, I mean, I've made good things and I've also made some not great things. The things that are good are because I'm making it for myself.
Yeah,
and I'm
exactly.
making it exactly what I want it to be. Versus if I'm trying to pander, if I'm trying to please an audience, or I'm imagining someone else that I'm trying to make it for, which is what the AI is doing, then it doesn't really, the audience is not going to feel that authenticity.
Yeah, and they can tell.
We can feel a little safe just in that. But
we'll see how it progresses.
I
right?
feel for like the craftspeople, you know, and I feel
Yes.
for like the script supervisor, and I feel for like, but there are certain roles that still will require that human touch for a long time.
Oh yeah.
I feel for the concept artist is really a tough one.
Yeah.
So there are certain fields that I think that they're going to need to get their prompt game on and figure out how they're going to elevate what they're doing, using it as a tool to do what
I
they're
wonder if the
already doing.
value of those concept artists and designers and illustrators will grow in time because of the rarity.
I see what you're saying, like to be done by a human.
Yeah, in the way that you can't compare a real diamond with a lab grown, right? Even though that it's completely dominated the market.
Sure. I don't know. I don't even know what that means, what you just said.
Should we ask AI?
You talk about a diamond. Do you have something on? Is that a ring reference?
Next question.
Okay. So I actually wanted to ask you, when you're making something like Musica, which is, you know, it's completely based on your experience.
Right.
Does it come easily when you're making that? Or is the hard part, like the idea is easy and then it's like marshaling the army of people that it takes to make a movie? Is that the hard part?
It's somehow like the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but with an incredible ease. It's like somewhere in the middle. It's like I'm trying to find like a clever food analogy, but like imagine a chef putting these two contrasting flavors or ingredients that do not make sense or agree, and yet it's so palatable. That's how I feel about
Well, that's-
making films.
Right, and that's what makes a film interesting and new, is that it's counterintuitive. There is a way, like I think that it takes like a human mind of experience and perspective to like take two things that should not work together.
Yeah, and,
And
make it digestible.
They
just make it meld.
It's more than digestible. And what are the contrasts in your movie, do you think, for you? And just for the people who are watching, listening to this, who have not seen Musica, it's kind of an autobiographical story. It is musical. It's just super fun. Rudy stars in it. Star, producer, writer, director, composer. And then you actually lived out that love story a little bit while you were making
Yeah, and
the
by the
movie,
way,
or is that an embellishment?
I'm
'Cause-
asked that a lot. Like, how did you wear all the hats? And it sounds kind of selfish. And I'm like, I want to do everything. But to
Yeah.
me, it was the only way to make this film. And also, I don't see it as individual hats. It was kind of one big
Oh,
hat.
I'm with you on
Because
that.
the music the music informed the writing and the dialogue, and the dialogue was based on a lived experience. And I don't think anyone can play me better than I can. I don't think anyone can play my mother better than my actual mother. She plays my mom.
That's
in it.
right.
I don't think, life imitated art and art imitated life in an interesting way. But I'd also been thinking about it for a very long time. How are those 10 years of my life? How can that be organized in a 2-hour feature or 90-minute feature that's compelling, that's interesting, that speaks to me, that lives somewhere in between theater and cinema? Like, there's a lot of pieces that feel somewhat two-dimensional, like you're on like it's against a wall on a stage, and it doesn't have that cinematic dimension. But then there are other pieces that feel very cinematic. So I had a lot of big ideas, and using music. How can I make a musical that's not a musical? No one breaks into song and dance, but music is part of the editorial language, and it explores synesthesia, the kind of synesthesia that I have.
I think there is some song and dance. They don't.
Yeah, there's dance,
but it's from your point of view.
Yes.
So it's not like
we're not breaking
we're
into
not
a number.
in the musical world.
No, it's not a musical,
and it's in the synesthesia, which I want to dive into here. That is the perspective from which you live, where you see the music is more than just the music is just around you, and you feel it and you see it.
Yes.
And then you're seeing everything in music. And
Yeah.
now the audience, and it actually is only cinema that can really do this, the audience can get into your head through the expression of the music, through the expression of what you're seeing in front of you and the performances and all that stuff. But tell me about that. Like, what is your lived experience? When was the first time you felt different, and when were you able to like put a name to this? And they probably different moments.
Synesthesia is a difficult thing to diagnose. Like, you really have to be in someone's head or behind their eyes in order, or feel their senses in order to really get it or describe it. I don't know if there was an exact moment or turning point. It was more of a progression, but for as long as I could remember, I've had this thing, this rhythmic association, musical synesthesia, where my brain involuntarily keeps trying to organize sounds every day, regular miscellaneous sounds, whether it's a door opening, closing, footsteps, noises inside of a kitchen of a restaurant, into some sort of musical construct, like trying to find the rhythmic syncopation in everyday sounds. And it's gotten, I'm 33 years old, and I've lived with this for as long as I could remember. And now because I have creative outlets to express myself musically and artistically, I am not so tortured by it. But I didn't consider it a superpower until fairly recently. For most of my life, it was a hindrance. I'm like, wow, why am I keep trying? I can't even hear what this person's trying to say to me, or what the teacher's saying to me in the classroom.
It's like you must have ADD.
It's a musical ADD slash OCD.
And were they trying to like cure? So you didn't know it was a.
No, I didn't think it was a problem. I was like, I hear music everywhere. It's like, okay, great, shut the fuck up.
Did you feel like they were kind of like, oh, you have a thing because were your parents like sending you to the doctor, or like what was your situation?
No, because I wouldn't open up about it because it's hard to describe. I was, were
you able to get good grades when you wanted to, or did you do your homework ever? I did not.
I failed a lot of courses. I struggled. I barely got through high school, and it was only because I found a workaround. I struck a deal with the principal. I said, look, I'll play piano at all the middle school receptions and stuff. You'll save money for like a year. And he was like, all right. And like a big project or a midterm, I would make a video about the subject matter instead of doing the essays or the packages or the presentations, and I got by finding creative workarounds from actually doing the
Yeah.
work, but I failed a lot of things, not because I couldn't do it. Anyone could apply themselves to really do the work and apply that regimented sense of discipline and get decent grades. I couldn't focus. I didn't care.
I had a similar problem, and I actually did similar workarounds where like it's like, oh, like I'm a little savantish. I'm like yeah, math too hard, so I'll make like the what's it called? Like I'll make the video for the moving up day or whatever, the graduation day,
Yeah.
or whatever it was,
Or the
And then
morning announcements.
Even in college, I was like writing the screenplay things, and I would submit that to my writing class, just being like, oh, this is the only, and that somehow I got away with that.
Yeah, which by the way should be more widely accepted. Why do we have this like a premeditated, organized version of what the curriculum should be? I don't know. As soon as I figured out that there was a formula and there was a like due process, I rejected it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying I'm a nonconformist necessarily, but it was like all of us have to do this exact thing at the same time. Then we graduate, and then we all have to go school searching, and then we have to pay tuition, and then that'll determine what our job is, and that'll determine what the rest of our lives are. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That sounds ridiculous. Can I just go over there and try this thing, even if I'm broke?
It's super depressing. And I feel that way sometimes. Like I have a 6-year-old, 4-year-old. I remember when the 6-year-old was like 2. It was like we want to take him to. My mom was like, oh, let's take. Sorry, my wife is like, let's take him to the what's it called, like the gymnastics thing. The kids, like, they go around in a circle and they throw the ball and stuff, and he like wanted nothing to do with what the group was doing. He just wanted to go over there and just play with the ball by himself. And there's part of you, the conformist side that we've been conditioned for. It's like, oh my God, what's wrong? Is he okay? And then it's like, no, actually he's better than okay. He's just doing something. He's doing what he feels like.
Yeah.
And a smart dad told me that it was like, some parents are like, oh, they need to have balance. Like he's playing, he cares too much about spaceships. He cares too much about this, and we have to balance it out. And like, no, it's enough spaceships for one day. Let him do the spaceships as much as he wants.
Do you think it's harder now that we're so much more aware of mental health, and we have all this access, and we have so many voices to raise a kid?
No, I think that it's easier because now we can understand the psychology of the kid in a way that is much more compassionate. Because, and this actually goes back in the overall theme of like, what happens if you're different and you're kind of special, and society doesn't necessarily like that. There's a formula that it's more comfortable for people that you just kind of stay in the lane. And that's why like there are bullies in school, like I was, made fun of or whatever for whatever it was, and like, and or like I'm doing like Street Fighter moves in the cafeteria lunch line, and like,
did you do that?
It's pretty bad.
I would have
so I'm like getting made fun of for that, and then it's just kind of like sad. And then my mom's like, "What's wrong with you?" She's getting reports from school that I'm just like not paying attention, and that there's something wrong with me, and I need to be medicated, and like all this stuff.
But you have to. So you treated all those qualities like a hindrance, like a disease, like a problem?
I was told that it was a problem.
And you believed it?
Yeah. I was told it was a problem. I needed to take, Ritalin. I started Ritalin when I was 10 years old. Jeez. And it wasn't necessarily because I was anxious because my parents' marriage was falling apart or whatever the problem really was, or the idea that you have to take medication to sit still in the class because there's something wrong with you, because you don't want to sit you're 10 years old and you don't want to sit at a desk for however many hours a day. And like, I just think that's like messed up. And I think now I'm not going to be, I think that kids need boundaries. Like there are boundaries to live in a civilized society, but I don't think that homework, like you go to school all this time and then you come home and now you're supposed to like sit at a desk and do more stuff. Yeah. Like what is the point? I think that whole system is totally messed up.
It's somewhat broken. I mean, look, I guess an argument could be made that it gives you some sort of construct for discipline and
to condition you for the cubicle.
Condition
like
you.
what is the what are you setting up for? I think that there is boundaries.
That's a good question. What are you setting up for? And there needs to be boundaries.
I'm agreeing on boundaries.
Yeah.
Because no boundaries that's also bad.
We're also each one of us is so vastly different. Like I think that could work for some people in the long run and really ruin others.
Yeah, some people it's good to have the construct of sitting in the thing or whatever it is.
Yeah, but look, I mean, the reason why I ask is because the question about raising a kid today is because I do wonder if everyone treated, when I was growing up, a lot less awareness about mental health and less kind of believability and time attributed to understanding young, especially for me, young men, because they were just crazy and rambunctious and disorderly, and they're going to do what they're going to do. So you just got to try and whip them into shape as much and fit them into the box as much, and hope for the best. I wonder if I was diagnosed with ADD and OCD and synesthesia, and I had all these learning disabilities that were identifiable and diagnosable, and they gave me more freedom or gave me a different flow, if I would have been able to do what I do today. I think it was because there was a push and pull, and because there was conflict and there was something to prove and a boundary that I had to work within the confines of, that I was able to supersede it. And I applied this. I have to self-generative mindset. I got to do it all myself. No one's going to help me. No one's going to understand me. So let me just learn how to write, shoot, direct, play, and act, because that's the only way to hack the system.
Yeah.
If I had had the support and help, maybe I wouldn't have had that ambition.
Yeah. Or maybe just the story would be different. But I think that there is always, even no matter how much understanding there is about the mental health of kids, there's always going to be a resistance. And it's just a fact of humans, and that, we're not like some kind of super species that is immune to that with understanding.
Right.
We can understand things and we can still do it wrong. Like,
yeah.
You go to therapy, or I go to therapy. I have an understanding of like, oh, I get upset because of this and this in my past, but it doesn't, just because I know it doesn't mean I don't get upset.
Yeah.
By it.
Have you heard of the telepathy tapes?
The what?
Telepathy tapes?
Telepathy?
Telepathic
tapes? Telepathy?
Is telepathy a word?
Yeah, I think telepathy is the noun for telepathic.
Yeah, it's the infinitive of telepathic is telepathy. Telepathy tapes. What did I say?
I don't know. It's the same.
The point is, did I say telepathy or telepathy? No, you said telepathy.
You said telepathy.
I don't know. It's going to ruin my day if I don't get to the bottom of how the pronunciation.
We're going to change it in AI anyway.
Okay.
I could do your sound too.
Telepathy tapes.
Telepathy.
Cammy was listening to it. She summarized it for me, and then I started listening to it myself. The point is, I guess the recognition of certain superhuman abilities and tendencies that were identified specifically in nonverbal autistic children. And that's all I'll say for now, but give it a listen or read into it. Point being, the beauty of today and our interest in awareness and technology is that I enjoy the reframing of something that's known to be a problem, a disease, a hindrance, a disability, as actually a superpower, a superhuman power. And that I have it on one scale with synesthesia, but I think we've barely scratched the surface of what we know about these things.
I think that the human brain is just crazy what it's able to do. And you see that in the fact that as we continue, as a human race species continues, we're always pushing the boundaries of everything.
Yes.
There's always growth. There's no limit to what, like, the chess master today can destroy. Like, Magnus Carlsen could destroy, like, Kasparov, and it happened. And it's like, and then there's a guy coming up now, Kukesh now, who's like now beating, and then there's another beating Magnus, and it goes on and on and on.
Do you play chess?
Yeah. Yes. And then there's like, of course, and of course, like in gymnastics and athletics, like it keeps going and going and going, what is possible, because you build on the generational knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's one of the coolest things about humans.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much like intuition and sensitivity. And I think that the superhero story and the archetype of the superhero story is that when somebody has that special power, there are people who are like, no, they want to stop it. They want to shut it down because they don't like, some people don't like things they don't understand. It doesn't feel right.
That's right.
And so it's a sickness. There's something wrong with you, whatever the thing is. And they're going to knock it down. Like, everybody wants to beat Superman. Spider-Man is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man's going around saving everybody, and everybody's the newspapers. Everybody's against him,
mm-hmm.
And But then he learns there's a moment in his life where he discovers he knows he gets these powers, right? Then he's using them in the wrong way, right? He's like a wrestler. He's like trying to make money on the powers.
Yeah.
And then
His
he
own
does
vengeance and redemption.
a burglar comes and robs the office of the whatever, and then he doesn't stop him. He's like, whatever, not my problem. And then that guy ends up killing his uncle, and then he's like, holy
That's
shit.
right. That's right.
I have
this is specifically the Sam Raimi origin story.
well,
right?
I think that's
Is that comic accurate?
I believe it is, yeah. And I did do the official Stanley documentary. And I'll even
You did?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and send that to you. So
I forgot who I
it's
was
on
up
Disney
against.
Plus. Okay, so for you, what's the moment where you realize, okay, I hear music, I see music, people are like, okay, shut the fuck up, just get in line, like, or they're saying you're lazy, you're not doing your work, you're lazy, or whatever the thing is. When are you realizing that there can be a purpose to this?
Wait, how old was in the comics? How old was Spider-Man when he got his abilities?
He's in high school.
He is in high school,
yeah,
right?
He's 17, 18 years old in the OG.
So he doesn't really become an adult until many comics later.
Well, that's the whole thing, and you'll see it on Disney Plus when you watch the documentary. Stanley, he's a teenager. There's never been a teenager superhero. So you got Clark Kent. He's a journalist, and the only other than being meek, there's no personality flaw to speak of. He's just kind of a wuss when he's Clark Kent, and then he's macho Superman. And Batman, billionaire. Traumatized past, which was the breakthrough there. But he's kind of he's a billionaire, tortured billionaire, strong guy. You never had a superhero that was a kid, and we never had a superhero that was the same age as the people who were actually
Supergirl?
reading.
No.
But I think that's later. I don't know about Supergirl. We're gonna table that.
Or I think some of the X-Men.
Let's stay on Marvel there. Well, okay. X-Men comes around a similar time, but X-Men also has characters who feel like they're outcasts, and they are.
But they literally have a school of teens,
and they're literally
children.
being hunted down to be conformed into normal people.
Yes.
But this is something that the kids I think related to is like, oh wow, like it's actually okay to be different, and it's cool to be different, and it's a nice message. And I think that's kind of what you're giving in Musica is kind of giving, like, you don't need to have synesthesia to like understand, like, oh, I feel a little different.
Right. Embrace your differences.
It becomes a barrier to your character's intimacy because he feels that nobody can see him for who he really is, and so he has to become what everybody else wants him to be because nobody will truly understand.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And that's how it felt for you in real life.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the film takes place over the course of a few weeks, but it was a quarter of a lifetime of experiences boiled down to this tighter timeline, and delivering it in 90 minutes. But it was multiple instances, emotions, traumas, coming of ages, boiled down to one palatable, cohesive piece that you can kind of follow. But yeah, the culture has a big part of it, because ideologically the cultures I grew up with were very different. I was one person at home, and when I was speaking Portuguese, I had one personality. When I was at school or hanging out with friends, were mostly American, I had a different one. When I would interact with my dad, when I interact with my Peruvian friend, there were different parts of the brain, but the common denominator was I experienced the world in this way, and with this musical heartbeat, and I'm almost ashamed of it, and then that shame progressively turned into a reconciliation, turned into the source and fuel to do everything that I do.
Right. Because the thing that you're hiding from, and you're just trying to be normal to accommodate everybody else, it becomes, you realize that that's who you are.
Yeah, man. It's Mystique. It's Mystique, assuming the form of a human, so that she can be accepted. But when she takes Magneto's advice and she just becomes Mystique, that blue alien looking being, that's when she truly feels like herself. And unfortunately, she goes to a darker side. But that's when she could truly be powerful. Right. When she's not concealing who she really is.
That's right. And I feel like for Rudy in the movie...
Not that I'm comparing myself to an X-Men.
No, I think you can. And it's okay. That's why I'm here to give you a permission structure.
To humble me?
I mean, no, I'm here to give you... I'm not here to humble you. I'm here to give you the permission to... Because I think one of the problems with people that feel different or they have a talent is that they actually, there's a lot of false humility that we do it because it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I find that actually can become a hindrance. And one of the things that I admire so much about you is that you just go for it and do the thing that's different. And what I also love about the movie is I don't know if I'm allowed to like mess up the ending. The ending
Say whatever you want.
is very true, and it defies the romantic archetype that we think that we want it to be.
Yeah.
And
some poor test audience scores because of that ending.
well, that's, but that's their fucking problem. And that's the whole thing, is that once we start doing things for the test audience, then it loses the truth.
No, I know, but it's interesting and it's important. I like the focus groups that came that with the moderator that came after the screenings, but the screenings themselves, yeah, it's a tricky thing, because the two biggest complaints were Rudy is quite unlikable, and the ending is super grim and wax.
Well, that's certainly the part that you are hearing the most, because it's like, okay, some people don't like the character, and that's also a hang up of the character.
Yeah, but that was deliberate. It's by design. He's designed to be quite unlikable because he's unsure.
No, he's not unlikable. It's that you disagree with him.
And that's the point.
And disagreement and unlikability, like that's, if you put that question to an audience, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, I didn't like how he did that." And then it's like, oh, it's likability.
Yeah.
The column it's also so much has to do with the framing of the question. And I've been through a brutal test screening experience that like destroyed me and ruined the work that I was doing.
Can you say what it was for?
Yeah. It was for a studio horror movie called Lazarus Effect. And I was like, came at it from a place of fear. There were things that I really thought were really cool about it. I thought our cast was absolutely incredible, but nobody trusted me. And I felt like I had to make something to make everybody else happy. And that ultimately I completely lost my footing on the thing. And the big takeaway, and I'm glad to say that the project that I'm working on now, Chef's Table, I have a lot of Jiro Dreams of Sushi, my first movie, have complete control over. There was nobody wanted the movie and had any interest.
It's masterful work of art.
Thank you.
It's fucking incredible.
It was only because I was making, and I was afraid for a lot of the time I was making it that nobody would watch it. But as long as I enjoyed it, then I just decided I didn't care. And then for you, like, I feel like Vine provided a place where you could just do anything that you wanted without needing to be accountable to anyone and build a voice in that way. And so I think that's really, tell me about that experience. Well, when did you discover that you were able to kind of just do anything you wanted there?
I was pretty off the grid. I didn't really understand social media or the internet. Also, this is pre-video content on mobile, right? This is pre-TikTok. This is pre-Instagram video. The only thing that existed was really YouTube, and mostly you had people vlogging. I didn't understand that world at all. And then somebody told me about this app called Vine, and the appeal of Vine were the parameters. You had 6 seconds to tell a story, essentially. For me, that was very obvious tool for music. You can make these perfect musical loops. For storytelling, it was compelling because it was so short. You kind of have 2 seconds per act, or you have to pay off the joke in some creative way. So it forced you to be super creative with all these limitations. You couldn't edit, you couldn't upload anything, you couldn't add music, there were no effects. You had to shoot everything native inside the app. So if you wanted to do a conversation, 2 over the shoulders, you had to have that person say their one line over the shoulder, hope that the app doesn't crash, physically go to the other person's shoulder, film those 2 seconds, go back and forth, and there'd be a lot of trial and error. If you had multiple locations, you had to drive to that location and hope that no one called you in the middle of it, so because you might lose it. It was the most guerrilla style film school that one could endure. And the appeal was also, no voices, no opinions, no parameters. I could do and say whatever I wanted. And I quickly realized, okay, what's my goal in life? Make music, make movies, make music for my movies. What a great place to audition all of these weird ideas I have. So if you watch Musica, I can trace back almost every single scene, transition, set piece, or musical sequence to something that I did on the internet.
Yeah, and actually we're going to post the ChatGPT breakdown of that analysis for you.
I would actually like to see that.
Shortly. Yeah, no, we have it. The limitation becomes the advantage in a way. Like, I think that knowing that it can't be any more than what it is, like, it reframes the expectation, and then the idea, the coolness of it becomes, oh, I got to do this over here, and then I got to run over and over and do it over there. That becomes like part of the whole thing. And you see that in Musica, especially in that amazing montage where you have all these different locations and some of them are flats. And so, you have all these pieces and the production designers are coming in and it's all within the world of the film. And that balance, I think it's just awesome.
Yeah,
I love the fourth wall being something that it's there. We all know we're watching a thing, but if the feeling is true and it's done with sincerity, like it still totally works.
Yeah. I think you can break walls as long as it's done elegantly and it's not being done for the sake of being done. There's a real purpose and intention behind it. I think it works and it resonates and it's honest. Like we can, anybody, whether you're well versed or not, can feel honesty.
Yes.
And whether they know how to articulate it or whether they even know, it could be a subconscious reception. You can feel truth.
Yes.
That the distinction is very real. And I think that's the problem with these test screenings and giving everybody a microphone is that they don't always know how or why they're articulating it. Sometimes you're forcing them to articulate something that they don't actually feel. This is the part of filmmaking that I really had to learn and reconcile with because I come from the internet, somewhere where you can do whatever and say whatever and try things. Now you got a studio and now you have producers and now you have test audiences and now you have a rollout. It's a lot.
More money, more problems. And it's not part of filmmaking. It's part of film selling. It's part of the business. But the business is interconnected because
it's all interwoven.
By playing the business is the only way that you can get to make the thing.
Yeah. And it frustrates me when filmmakers say, I only make my movies for me. I don't care if anybody goes to see it.
Yeah.
Well, then why are you making it?
Yeah. Well, also you're not able, you want to communicate something.
Yeah. And you want it to resonate with as many people as possible, or it's not really a movie.
Yeah. I think that the ones who are truly saying that they don't care, like kind of
care the most,
because that's the armor that they put on, is that like, I don't do it for anybody. I'm making a thing that I want to watch, and I'm hopeful that other people will agree with me and that they'll enjoy watching it with me.
Totally. I'm not against test screenings. I thought that process was invaluable. It was my first film. I couldn't wait to hear what it meant to people. Yeah. My issue is with how it was organized, the fact that they score it, and the questions that were asked.
No, they're framing it in a way.
There's weird like barometers. I would have preferred exactly that. How did it make you feel? What did it mean to you? What'd you think? Simply, what did you think? And I wish that was the approach for standardized testing. Like if I were to go into a history exam and it was this event, this World War, talk about it. I could give you 10 pages, but the minute I have multiple choice, you lost me.
Yes. Yeah, I feel you on that. I think that the questions are framed in a leading way. That often is the questions are being framed in a way to give the studio ammunition to demand a change that they're looking for. And the other problem is also, and again, I'm grateful to my relationship with Netflix because they have been not only incredibly supportive, but they really let us cook, and our executives have always been great in giving us.
Nice pun, bro.
Huh?
Nothing.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It was a great pun. It was a good pun. You've done that a few times, actually.
Let him cook?
No. You had like these like cooking or food puns. Is that deliberate?
No, that's my problem that I'm working on.
Anyway, tell me the ingredients about your relationship with
because that's not
Netflix.
just being different. That's just being cringy. So they let us cook. God bless them. And
it's a tasty relationship, right?
They tell us it is tasteful. We try to keep it tasteful.
Not tasty.
We keep it tasty and tasteful.
How delicious is Netflix? Do they ever spice things up with notes?
I'm literally about to crash out of this interview right now. They give suggestions. We get feedback. The suggestions are in the form of, I wish I knew more about this. Things pique their interest. They tell us about them, and we don't have to do it, but we take the information from it.
Sure.
And I think that it's rough when a creative person, especially someone like you, like I feared for you in the film business because I don't want them to knock you down, but you have a very strong sense of self and you know that people are watching and understanding what you're doing.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Who are the executives to tell the filmmaker what their thing should be?
Yeah, no, it's tough.
I think it's gnarly.
But at the same time, when you have good executives, smart executives who trust the vision, their notes are and ideas are often valuable, and even when they aren't necessarily right, they don't align with the vision. Sometimes the wrong note helps you think of things in a different way. I like the way the system is set up. I think full autonomy can also be dangerous, right? I liked
It
being.
has to be responsible. I think
It's
the whole thing.
responsible and
about how
smart.
it's about how it's done.
And it's also taste, man. Like you
Are
can't
people-
teach taste.
Yeah, are people just like knocking it down because they don't understand it, or are they asking a question because they want to understand it? And,
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
I don't like it when you're trying to do something that's different, and I think that's where the 69% comes from, is because, well, I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know if it's right or not, and so people are like feeling like if it doesn't fit into something that they can understand, they've seen before, and I think this is why the problem with the pitching and the problem with the IP issue, where everything has to come from an IP now, is that the risk of filmmaking is so high because the cost is high and it costs a lot of money, takes a lot of work to do. If it doesn't hit, like, how do we know if it's going to hit or not?
Yeah, less swings being taken for sure.
They can only tell if it's going to hit or not because has this thing been successful before? But then the story is, with the big breakthrough things, is that nobody knew it was coming. People always say, I was actually talking to a composer I have the great privilege of working with, Atticus Ross, who's working on some music with me on a
One
thing.
of the best, man.
And I mean, the guy is a genius. And Nine Inch Nails are on tour right now, or Nine Inch Nails are touring, or will tour, or have been touring, depending on when this is aired.
Which one is it, David?
Right now, it's the Nine Inch Nails are awesome, and they are making a sound that I think that probably people told them, like, this is not music when they were doing it. He was telling me the story about Social Network. And when Social Network was in development, they were like, this movie is a total dud. This movie is never going to work. It is about Facebook. Nobody wants to hear about Facebook. Nobody knows who Jesse Eisenberg is, and he's not like a star. They're like, this movie is about nothing. And why can't Fincher just go and make 7-2, or like whatever it is that they wanted him to do? 72. 8 is better.
Yeah. He ate.
The eighth, and it's like the eighth sin was worse than you could expect. The eighth sin was the sequel.
7-2 is a horrible.
7-2 is pretty bad. The number 23 actually is the sequel to 7.
There you go.
And like, let's do it from the killer's perspective.
As it relates to the pitching process, and this isn't just exclusive to making films, but really doing anything, pursuing any original idea, and having to present it to open it up to a room. My approach when I pitched Musica is the same as everything I'm doing now with every pitch I've done since then, and it's just create something unique enough that convinces everyone in the room only you could do it. It's a story that only you could tell, right? And we've heard that a lot. It's a generic statement. Tell stories only you could tell. Make films only you could make. Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard that much.
Really?
But I like
well, now you heard it twice.
I like hearing it.
Yeah. Well, I not only do I not want to make a film that someone else could probably make their own rendition of, but I believe in crafting stories and concepts that really, they have no choice but to trust me. Yeah. And I also disarm them because when I came to the Musica pitch, first of all, it wasn't your standard, tight 30 or tight 15, where I was like, here are the 3 acts, here are the characters, here are the themes, and here's the visual mood board. What? No. I brought a keyboard, a puppet. I ran around the room doing a one-man show, and I wrote I created a sizzle, which was essentially a poor man's version of the opening scene of the movie, and it's almost frame for frame the exact same thing. By the end of that pitch, they were like, if we decide to finance this, he has to do everything. Not let's talk about it. Maybe we can work around and make a deal. No, it's like he has to do everything.
Yeah.
I gave them no choice.
Yeah, and you're not saying in the room like this is going to be a revolutionary thing.
Said it's going to be a
just
risk.
doing the thing, and they don't know why it's working or how it's working. But as you said, they could feel the sincerity, they could feel the honesty, and they're entertained by it. And if you are so fortunate to be able to have those things, and that's actually a great piece of advice for aspiring filmmakers, people that want to express themselves in media, is that show them in the pitch. Go and show it to them. Like, I could not get a single person on board Jiro until I had a 10-minute demo. I just go and do the motherfucking thing.
Yeah, there you go.
And I couldn't even explain it. It's like, it's gonna be like, it'll be like the planet Earth. It'll be it'll be like this thing.
Since Musica, I sold 3 features at 3 different studios.
There you go.
With that exact same method. There's only one project that was not my idea, that was not self-generated. It was a big Disney IP. I don't think I could say what it is, but it came down to me and another filmmaker, and I didn't get it. It was massive.
Say it and we'll bleep it.
Dude, yeah. It's partly why they considered me.
It's good.
It went from probably 100 directors to 50 to 12 to 5 to 2. And it was like 6 months of me going through the
Oh,
runner.
that's fucking brutal.
All the development
I can't
people,
even-
all the producers, the VP, the president, and then everybody in the room, then everybody in the room again. Man, my deck was crazy. I wrote 2 songs for it. I went hard. I really wanted it. It's the only thing I actually really wanted. And eventually it was like, listen, bro, this is a $300 million movie. You've made one movie. We probably should go with somebody who's made a couple of big
Oh,
hitters.
Jesus Christ.
But not because we don't think you'd make a great movie, but also, are you sure you want this? Because it's gonna be fucking hell for 3-4 years. Hell.
Because
And I was like-
they're gonna make it hell for you.
But I was like, man, that's one that's worth it. Like, but then and then of course 6 months later, there's an announcement that they've paused the development of it, and
They
it wouldn't have worked out. But they gave me another movie instead of that.
Well, that's
that
good.
is arguably way more interesting and it's original. But as far as IP goes, that's one that I really
Well, that's
wanted.
the absolute that's the brutal thing is that first off, are you okay?
Yeah, dude, the learning process was amazing,
that's
and
hard.
it got me really close to Disney, and now I'm working on them with something else, and I
Okay,
love
good.
all those guys. They're
Good.
amazing.
So it was like they loved what you were doing. It's just that this thing is just it's too risky
too
for
risky.
them
Yeah.
for the corporate thing, and they have all
Oh
the
yeah,
people
dude,
and they
I
got
wouldn't
all
have
the
given me
stuff.
the job, but I had a hell of a
But
pitch.
you know what? They should have. I want to see more madcap takes on
Yeah, I
big
hear you.
IPs because that's what keeps it fresh and fun. Spider-Verse is a great example of that. That Ninja Turtles movie. They did a Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, the Seth
Hilarious.
Rogen produced
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, that's worth a watch if you haven't seen
I
it.
saw it in theaters when it came out. I remember
funny.
liking it a lot.
I
I also
like
love
it.
the animation style.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's
Spider Verse
different.
is so good, man.
Spider-Verse is incredible. So these things, and they have the track record of success. That's where the job of the pitcher is so important. The talent is great. If you're talented, great. Can you communicate it? Can you get that room excited? And then what I'm so amazed about is how you were able to navigate a very true vision, the vines, which all those things kind of coalesce, and you managed to get it through that studio system.
Mhm.
And now you can
Which
watch
was its own
you can
obstacle.
watch people can watch it now. And
Yeah.
and how pure is it to you? Like when you watch that movie, how does it feel to you?
I enjoy it every single time because I know that it's just the truth and
Yeah,
it's
there
really
you go.
honest, and I got to do pretty much exactly what I wanted to do for every single scene and sequence, which is more than most first-time filmmakers get the liberty
Yeah.
to do. But I worked for many years creating stories and compositions to warrant that level
Yeah.
of freedom and
Yeah.
and creativity.
Yeah.
But I enjoy watching it very much. There's a lot of things that I would have done differently. By the way, Musica was supposed to be very dark at first. It was like a dark exploration into synesthesia, and progressively I started realizing, with help of producing partners
There you
and
go.
co-writer, that it's actually more of a easy, fun story. It's something as simple as a rom-com coming of age, counterbalanced with something pretty complex, which is
Yeah.
synesthesia and duality of culture. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, but I see it, I see it as quite a nuanced film, and I love the ownership of the bad decision making that is happening throughout the movie and
Yeah.
why we make these bad choices. And it has to do with just like being afraid to like be ourselves, and to just intimacy is so hard.
But what about you? Is like Chef's Table, for instance, or Jiro, was that like the convergence of your passion for food, like the culinary art and filmmaking?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of things. I mean, and part of it is born from the fear of knowing myself and being willing to take criticism while writing a script. I never wanted to write a script because I was afraid it would be bad. And my grandparents are writers, they're authors. My grandfather's managing editor of New York Times. My grandmother's written plays and books and stuff. And
High
they
bar.
were like, my grandpa, you'll love this one. My grandpa's saying was, you can do anything you want in the world. Great, you can do anything you want. Just be the best at it. And that's the
That's
thing.
fantastic.
And that's the thing. And so, that comes with a certain fear. And there's also a thing that's called false empowerment, emotional neglect. And I highly recommend that anybody that is interested in the theme of male depression reads Terry Real, this author. False empowerment, emotional neglect is like, it's when a parent tells you, oh my God, you're so smart. Why couldn't you? Why couldn't you do that better? You're so smart. You're so special. Why can't you do it right? So they're pumping you up while they're knocking you down.
Interesting.
And so
I like it.
documentary was a place where I could just be by myself and make the thing basically without needing approval from everybody, without needing to deal with criticism. And I still had, it wasn't like that was an overnight thing. Like I still had done like tons of short documentaries,
Sure.
tons of stuff.
But the proof of concept went a long way for you, right?
The proof of concept was everything. There was nothing until there was a proof of concept. Even Jiro himself told me that he thought I was making the most boring thing that he could possibly imagine. He told me that. I was
That's
filming
hilarious.
the octopus for 2 hours, and I think this is the dopest shit ever. It's like, this octopus is gonna be the most tender shit. He's unlocking the proteins inside the thing.
It's amazing.
And he's like, you can leave. Like, it's okay. You don't have to keep doing
Even
this.
Jiro was like, I don't believe in you.
He's like, I don't believe that this is gonna work at all. And he's like, I don't believe in you. But like, they felt bad for me. They thought I was like deluded and a sick person. But they knew that my dad was the head of the Metropolitan Opera and my grandfather was this. And
Is that right?
Yeah, that lineage made a difference to them.
Yeah.
Because they were like, okay, well, maybe he'll be okay.
Is your grandfather still with us?
No, unfortunately not. My
Sorry.
grandfather was very kind to me and was proud.
One thing I want to say,
Go
I
for
don't
it.
think my parents recognized that Musica was a movie until they were at the theater at South by Southwest in a room with hundreds of people.
Your mom was literally in the movie.
I know. And even she didn't quite understand that this is a movie. She kind of thought like maybe this is like a video. Maybe it's a...
When actually,
I swear.
I want to ask you about that. Your mom being in the movie, and then she's like watching the movie, and she's like, "Wait, he didn't get the job." What is her reaction to it? What is that like?
It's pretty bizarre. Pretty bizarre. Yeah, like my mom's very naturally funny and performative, but she's by no means an actor. So like even when we were shooting the movie, it's very clear that it's a movie. We have Amazon executives outside. We have dozens of people. We have an entire crew. We have 2 cameras at a minimum at all times. But didn't really understand blocking, didn't really understand eye lines, didn't really understand memorizing lines. So I had to find a workaround for that too. And at a certain point, I just threw the page away and I said, let's just talk. Yeah, she was playing herself, which was odd. And then watching herself was also odd. But I think it wasn't until we sat at the premiere at South by in a theater that she understood this is a movie. This is like an actual movie. And we're playing characters, even though we're playing ourselves. Because while we were shooting it, I think she almost felt like it was a documentary, like where there's people documenting us talking.
And your name is Rudy in the movie.
And my
she's
name is
saying-
your mom.
And you're having the same arguments that you probably had.
It's hard to explain that to an older Brazilian woman who's never been in a movie or ever.
And you're also dating the actress that you're dating in the movie. And did you go in through a breakup right before the movie started?
No.
Okay, that part had already
We met on
happened.
the project.
No, I know that you did.
Oh.
That you met on the project. I'm talking about your ex, about the.
Oh no.
You didn't break up right
that
before
was
the thing.
that was a based on a version of relationship I had in college, and it was very accurate to what I saw. I melded them. I put the timeline
It's
closer
composite.
to make the stakes higher.
I got you. That's the whole thing. Is that you were making it immediate, and you're using that.
That's right.
To do that. When did you actually figure out who you are?
I haven't yet. I'll figure it out though.
That's a good answer. In the movie, at least you decide that you're going to take a step towards that journey. You're admitting that you don't know who you are. Maybe that's part of what it is.
I don't know. I don't know
breakthrough?
fully, but I think you're right. There are steps, right? I think the first step for me is you have to figure out what you love, and what I love is to make music and tell stories and do puppets and make movies. I identify very much with what my passions are. So who am I? I don't know how to answer that, and I don't know that I ever will. But I know the things that I love doing and the things that make me happy and the things that I'm good at. And I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't know what that is. To me, they're one thing. It's just like when this is technically work, right? For you, for us, but it's also just living. It's also, I'm talking about the things I love. Like it's all one thing. I talked to Cammie about work because it's not talking about work. It's talking about what we love. So like, where does one start and where does the other end? And like, I don't know who I am, but I know what I love, and I'm pretty sure I know what I'm good at.
I think knowing what you love
It's a big part of
is
it.
a big part of it. And this is definitely not feel like work to me. And that's why I'm doing it. Writing the script feels like work, or at least for me, because that's just not what I do. And so accepting, here's the thing.
But we
for me-
change too, right?
What?
We change. I
No,
think I
of
was
course
someone
we
different
change.
10 years ago. I think I'll probably be someone different tomorrow.
And accepting that, because I think that, everybody goes into a story, and this is like the archetype. It's like, okay, you don't necessarily get what you think you want. You don't get what you think you want, but you get what you need. And then that's the famous, Mick Jagger thing.
Mm-hmm.
They ask you as a kid, what do you want to be?
That's it.
What do you want to
That's it.
be when you grow up, right? And then you're like, oh, now I've got to create a story about who I'm supposed to be and who do I want to become, versus the question is, who are you? And what do you like to do? What are you doing? Who are you and what are you doing? And it's funny, the project that I'm working on right now, those are the first 2 words that I've spoken in it, is just like, who are we? Who are you? And I think that's the whole thing.
It's a
Don't
loaded
try
question.
to be the message that I have for the kids, and I want you to give yours in a second, is like, don't try to be anything. Just
Yeah. Just be. Period.
don't try to become anything. Just be, just are yourself.
You can type that into ChatGPT and say, elevate this.
Now, for you, like, what's the big message that you want to tell people, or that you're trying to convey through your work? You're saying you want to play music, you want to do things, you want people to hear it, and you want to see it, and you want them to feel you. What is it? What are you saying? And it's like, what is the feeling for you?
I don't know.
Exactly. Maybe it's okay not to know.
I think more than anything, because I've been asked this before, what's the message? What are you trying to convey? What are you trying to say? First of all, I don't fucking know. But if I must, embrace your differences. And maybe that it's okay not knowing. I didn't know for a long time. Some of the most interesting people I know today are 50, 60 years old and still don't know.
That's super wise, and it's frustrating because you're much younger than me.
Am I?
Well,
How old are you on the record?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 41.
You're 41? I'm
Yeah.
not much younger than
Yeah,
you.
you're significantly younger than me.
I'm 33.
And I find what?
33.
I know. So you still have a lot to learn in life.
Do
right?
I? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I know. I've been through a shitload of stuff. The reason that things are working is because you are accepting that you don't know, and you don't need to, like, accepting doubt
Yeah.
and accepting that you don't know something is hard for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
like, not knowing and accepting doubt is just like, it's so important.
Yeah, I'm pretty agnostic in that way.
Yeah.
And we're always trying to do better and learn more,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I just don't. So I know I'm 33, and I feel very youthful in some ways, physically, and then very old and tired in others.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably because, and I feel like you're this way too. This just doesn't really stop. Whether I'm going on a run, or I'm dreaming, or I'm in a social setting, or I'm home alone, this is always going. I'm always trying to turn situations into some sort of creative, or the inception of a creative idea and story, and then figure out how I can visualize it and then make it sonically interesting all the time.
Okay, cool. So what I think we should do here, I mean, we have a little bit of time. Do you want to do the thing where just like you want to like play something kind of that tells a little bit of the story about what
On
your
the piano?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
about,
I'd be
like,
happy to. I can mess around.
I'll go get it.
What was the assignment?
The assignment is to write music that the score
Encapsulates your
write the score to our conversation.
Jesus, we talked about some bullshit though.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Thank you so much.